Amsterdam has an impressive passenger cruise terminal located very close to the central train station in the city. Today I'm going to show you a little around the passenger terminal itself, discuss embarkation, and tell you some of the things that we did to pass the time between the time we landed in Amsterdam at the airport until we could check in at our hotel on the day before boarding the ship. On the day before embarkation, part of our tour included a drive by the passenger cruise terminal. The roof of the building is shaped like a whale. There are 2 bike lanes and a large pedestrian walkway in front of the building. Many cruise passengers like to stay at the Movenpick Hotel, which is right next door to the cruise terminal. On a map, you can see that the cruise terminal is about a 20-minute walk from the train station, which doesn't seem too bad for folks with good mobility, but if you're hauling very much luggage, you might want to consider a taxi to drop you right in front of the building instead. It is about a 25-minute ride by taxi from the airport to the cruise port, but we never fly in on the day of a cruise. There are just too many chances for things to go wrong and have a delay, and you certainly don't want to miss your ship. Our flight was overnight from New York and arrived early in the morning. We were met at the airport by our amazing guide Elke, who loaded us and our bags into her vehicle, and off we went. The tour we booked included the countryside, where we crossed canals by tunnel, and we crossed canals by bridge, and we crossed canals by ferry. The Windmill Museum was a favorite stop, going inside a working windmill where we could see what life was like years ago as a miller living in one of these windmills. Village after village, each with its own town hall, seemed to invite us to stroll through them, like this one, where I could imagine myself living in one of the canal houses and stopping by one of the tea houses along the bank of the canal, sampling some cheese at the cheese shop in Edam Square, and visiting one of the oldest brick houses in the Netherlands. What an amazing tour, and it was a great way to spend some time between the time our flight landed and the time our hotel room was ready. I will leave Elke's contact information in the description below, where you can contact her if you want a similar tour, or there are other tours with tours by locals that you might also wish to book. After our tour, Elke dropped us off at our hotel. We booked the Renaissance Hotel, and currently the hotel is undergoing some major renovation all along where the original entrance was. The main entrance has been moved to this side entrance for now. It was still too early for our check-in, so we stored our bags with the hotel's concierge and decided to search out one of the nearby restaurants based on his recommendations. Joselito Tapas. We opted for a table indoors, and I loved the decor. We started off with a Coke and some Fanta Orange, and the server brought us a basket of bread. I ordered the chicken satay, and hubby ordered the fish and chips. Yum! This was very delicious, and the people watching from here was enjoyable too. We returned to the hotel and checked in. The room was comfortable, and we rested a while. Soon it was time for dinner, and we chose to eat at the hotel restaurant, the Koppel Cafe. This time we chose to eat outdoors, and we could people watch while we waited for our food. After studying the menu, hubby decided to play it safe with a burger and fries. I decided to be a little more adventurous and tried the bitterballen. Bitterballen was served in the fry basket, deep-fried balls, crispy on the outside and filled with lamb and gravy. I took a small bite to try it and then eagerly finished all of them. We walked around the city for a while, admiring the architecture, especially so many of the buildings that lean in or away from each other. Then we called it a night. The next morning we felt refreshed and walked a couple of blocks behind the hotel to the Bagel Village. I had a cappuccino and hubby enjoyed his caffeine cold. And we watched the canal traffic with lots of bicycle traffic while I had an American breakfast and hubby had pancakes. I'll have to say, we went 3 for 3 on those restaurants recommended by our hotel concierge, all within a couple of blocks of the hotel itself. Google says it would be a 27-minute walk to the cruise terminal and 7 minutes by taxi. The hotel concierge called a taxi for us and we were picked up right at the entrance. Google Maps does not take into consideration that you sometimes may have to wait to cross a canal bridge when the road rises before you. Our driver led us off right here in front of the passenger cruise terminal, and from here it was easy peasy. First, we needed to drop off our checked bags. We had printed out our cruise line luggage tags and attached them in advance so we could bypass the line of people who still needed to get their bags tagged. The porters put our bags into a conveyor belt for the ship. We just followed the signs from here. Everything was well marked, and we headed up the escalators. At this point, they didn't want any more filming. All we needed to do was show our boarding pass on the app and pass through security very much like you would pass through in an airport. And soon we were right on board, cruise cards in hand and ready to enjoy our sailing. We headed to the aft behind the Windjammer buffet and found a table outdoors to enjoy the gorgeous weather until the stateroom was ready. We booked a room on the port side, and that was the side next to the cruise terminal. This is the sky bridge we crossed over from the terminal to board the ship. Next door is the Novotel Hotel. You can see our ship reflected in the glass of the Musica bow, or music building, and at least 5 river cruise ships docked very close. If you plan to take a river cruise out of Amsterdam, be sure to get the exact address of the docking locations for that river cruise ship. As you will see in our sail away, there are many river cruise ships docked all along the waterfront here. I'm going to speed up this part of the sail away so we can count these river cruise ships. There's a Viking, and an Emerald. Notice how they often dock right beside each other. I could not read the brand on that one, but the nearest one to us is Gate 1. I know that company for budget land tours, but I didn't realize Gate 1 had its own river ships. Here is the massive central train station. That's a ferry. Uniworld, Anisha. I don't know which one this is. I couldn't read it. And one more Viking. I'll slow us back down a little to also show you some of the scenic views of the countryside and villages as we neared the locks we would traverse. Our large ship sailed through a canal as we were leaving Amsterdam. Having just sailed through the Panama Canal a couple of months earlier, this canal seemed so much simpler in comparison. Just one lock, but still fascinating. And people on land seemed just as curious to watch us as we were to watch them. To see the entire journey that we made, round trip out of Amsterdam through Norway, see this video next. And if you want to see a view of our stateroom, look for this video. This is Shirley with Shirley's Journeys, and I hope all of your journeys are pleasant ones.